Darkcast Network. Welcome to the dark side of podcasting.
This is one of the most controversial death investigations we have ever covered. She was stabbed 20 times, but her death was shockingly ruled a suicide.
The evidence and the timeline tell a different story. Her family has been fighting for the truth for 15 years. This is the mysterious death of Ellen Greenberg.
Everyone, and welcome to episode 16 of Stop Who Does That? I'm your host, Jackie.
And I'm Jenna.
And we hope everyone is having a great week. I'm not even sure what I did this week, Jenna, but how about you?
Wow, we are bracing for this massive snowstorm that's about to hit the entire East Coast and the Midwest, I think Sunday. So I don't know, Jackie, have you got your bread, milk, and eggs from the grocery store?
To make my French toast? No, but we did pick up 3 bags of salt. So we're going to try
There you go.
the driveway. My husband was actually supposed to go on a boys' trip, but they wound up canceling to be wonderful husbands and fathers and stay home with their family too.
Nice.
Yeah, I
Good
know.
husbands. Yeah.
I was like, I'm a big girl, right? But I agree. They wouldn't feel right leaving everybody to.
And it's just like, I think we're supposed to get 18 inches of snow. And this is not a small storm. So basically Sunday and Monday, everyone's going to be hunkered down with their movies, popcorn, and enjoying a couple snow days.
Well, before we get into this week's deep dive, we do have a special announcement. We did share this on Tuesday in headline highlights, but if you missed it, we're going to share it again. We were invited to join a network of podcasters called the Darkcast Network, and we are now thrilled to be a part of the community. You probably heard the intro in the beginning of this episode. We will be sharing with you some really great podcasts within our community that we know you will love. We wanted to take a moment to thank all of our viewers and listeners. We really appreciate the support so much from you guys. As always, please like, share, subscribe, follow us. It helps the algorithm. The algorithm is a interesting tool. The more you feed it, the more you like things, the more you comment on things, the more it pushes the content out there. So it really does help us out a lot.
Yeah.
And then finally, I wanted to mention, if you are listening to this episode, you must be on Patreon. And we thank you for that. Yeah, we decided to put at least one episode a month on Patreon. It's a great way to show your support for us and help fund some things that are coming up that involve travel. It's going to be part of our big announcement next week. And I think you guys are going to be really excited to hear where we're going to be going and what we're going to be doing. But this is going to help us get there, as well as reinvesting it into equipment, into software, and the tools that help us do this efficiently while we both are full-time moms and we work full-time. So we do appreciate you being over here on Patreon. And then as time goes on, we will build out better tiers for you. Hey, maybe we might let you be a guest co-host, depending on what the tier is. So feel free to send us some ideas on any kind of tiers that you'd like to see.
And the episodes that we will be putting on the Patreon are very exclusive. They are going to be Jackie and I's personal favorites and cases that we are very passionate about and we go into a lot of detail on. So these exclusive episodes are the ones that we'll be putting on the Patreon.
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay, so that being said, today, we will be talking about a case that Jackie and I are extremely passionate about and have been since the day it happened back in 2011. Was around our age at the time of the crime, and this has always stuck with us. We have followed every single breaking update, and today we are going to break it all down for you. Taking place in Manayunk, PA, it is also close to where we live. Manayunk is a popular place for young people to live and start their life and careers. That is exactly what Ellen and Sam did. This case received national news and attention for its extremely controversial cause of death ruling. This is one of our most requested cases to cover, and we thought now is the perfect time, coming up on the 15-year anniversary on January 20th, along with the latest breaking news this month involving the U.S. government getting involved in this case. This is the mysterious death of Ellen Greenberg.
Greenberg was born on June 23rd, 1983, to Josh and Sandy Greenberg. She earned a degree in communications from Penn State University and her teaching credentials from Temple University and Chestnut Hill College. She was a first grade teacher at Juniata Park Academy in the Juniata neighborhood of Philadelphia. She lived in the Manayunk neighborhood of Philadelphia, where she shared an apartment with her fiancé, Sam Goldberg. During this time leading up to her mysterious death, she was preparing for a wedding that was going to be happening in August of 2011. She had said yes to the dress. She had just mailed out save the dates just that week of her unfortunate death. In January, it did come to light that she was experiencing a lot of stress, a lot of surges in her anxiety levels, and she did start seeing a psychiatrist at the request of her parents because they were understandably concerned about her. Keep in mind, at this time, her parents were living in Harrisburg while Ellen was living with Sam in Philadelphia. So they were a good, 2.5 hours away from each other. So they weren't in close physical proximity to their daughter, but based on what she was telling them, they were concerned about her well-being. It was understood that she was having second thoughts about being a teacher, that the grading criteria had changed recently, and on the day of her death, the grades were due for the second marking period. So leading up to January 26th, she was under a lot of stress. She was prescribed antidepressants such as Zoloft, but she didn't like how that made her feel. It made her feel like a quote zombie. So the psychiatrist had switched her to Xanax and Klonopin, which are drugs that you can take at bedtime to kind of help you sleep, give you a calming effect that kind of carries you into the morning, but shouldn't give you too much of a zombie-like feeling. According to her psychiatrist, she only met with her 3 times in the month of January. According to the documentation from her psychiatrist, which we can get into later, most of her stress was from her job. She was diagnosed with an adjustment disorder, which the criteria for an adjustment disorder means you would have to have a life change within the last 6 months, right? It should be a very recent thing that's disrupted your life that's causing you this distress, and that she never reported anything concerning in her relationship with Sam. If anything, it was noted that she always smiled when she talked about Sam. However, her stress levels were getting worse, and at one point she even asked her parents to move back in with them back in Harrisburg and work with them. So, I think it's more or less like she was just feeling so stressed out by this job that she was willing to just move back home and start over with like a new job and everything. Not so much maybe leave Sam, but it is an interesting request to make when you're building this life in Philadelphia and then to ask your parents about moving back to Harrisburg, which is 2.5 hours west.
And they said no. They said, you're marrying Sam. You have a great job. And they said, no, stay where you are. And
so on Wednesday, January 26, 2011, there was an impending snowstorm in Philadelphia that was coming. This caused all of Philadelphia public schools to close for an early dismissal, and waited until all of her students were gone and then left the school for her apartment located at the Venice Loft condominiums at 4601 Flat Rock Road, apartment 03, just 1 block from Main Street and Manayunk. Now, I want to mention that Main Street and Manayunk was my old stomping grounds around this time. I often wonder if I ever ran into her on the town.
I was down there a few times. I don't live as close as Jackie does, but even from our area, people would go down to Manayunk. It was just well known for the college crowd.
It's Philadelphia, but it's not Center City, Philadelphia, and it's a very hilly, yuppie community.
Yes.
It's, again, a place you'd move to just out of college. bustling main street with plenty of bars, always a good time from what I remember. And like I said, I wonder if I ever did run into her and Sam at one of those bars because I mean, they would have been hanging out there when I did. Ellen entered her apartment and began calling the families of the students to make sure that they arrived home safely. She did have a conversation with one of her teacher coworkers about how stressed out she was about the grading. That was around 1:30, 2 o'clock. And then there were several exchanges in text message with a friend about making plans, future plans. And the last known text on her phone was made at 3:47 p.m. to this friend. Shortly before this last text message, Ellen made a phone call to a local restaurant, presumably making dinner reservations for a dinner date with this friend that she was texting with. Her fiance Sam said he left for the apartment complex gym at 4:45 p.m. And when he left, Ellen was sitting on the couch with her laptop grading papers. Here, let's go. He returned to their apartment at 5:20 to find their door dead bolted from the inside, and he could not get in. There were numerous missed calls and texts from Sam's phone to Ellen's between 5:30 and 5:54 p.m. He went to the lobby of their building and had maintenance call her between 6:07 and 6:10 p.m. There is surveillance footage of Sam during all of this. At 6:29 p.m., Sam forces his way into the apartment by kicking the door in. There he claims he found Ellen slumped over in the kitchen. She was dead from 20 stab wounds to the back of the head, neck, and chest. Sam called 911. They asked him to perform CPR, which he responded, quote, "Do I have to?" It was then he said to the 911 operator, "Oh my God, she has a knife sticking out of her chest. She stabbed herself." Medics and police arrived at 6:37 p.m. and Ellen was pronounced dead at 6:40 p.m. on January 26th.
I get chills every time we talk about this story. And the hours leading up to Ellen's death, I do want to say that the 911 call that Sam made was very controversial because when he got into the apartment, the way she was slumped down, you could easily see a knife sticking out of the front of her chest. But he didn't tell the 911 operator that until.
So after reading the report from the recent medical examiner, I don't think he was actually in the apartment when he called 911.
Wow.
I think he was there's like, we'll go over it later, but I don't think he was actually in the room until towards the end of the call. It's possible he opened the door, saw her laying there, called 911, walked out of the room. Again, I don't think he was in that room again until towards the end of the call. And that's when he's like, wait, there's a knife there.
Yeah, and we've listened to the 911 call, and he doesn't sound very upset.
All right. Well, speaking of the 911 call, we're just gonna play it for you and let you be the judge here. Here we go.
Oh, I need a now. I just walked to my apartment. My fiance's on the floor with blood everywhere.
What is the address?
4601 Flat Rock Road. Please come help now.
4001
Flat Rock Road.
Is this a house or apartment?
Oh no! Oh no! It's an apartment.
What apartment number?
Please hurry, please.
Where's she bleeding from?
I don't know. I can't tell.
No. So you have to calm yourself down in order to get you some help.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm looking at her right now. I can't see anything. There's nothing broken. She's bleeding. Ellie!
You don't know where she's bleeding from? Can't see where the blood's coming from?
I think her head. I think she hit her head, I think. But it's everywhere.
Okay,
it's everywhere.
She might have fallen. Do you know what happened?
She may have slipped. There's blood on the table. Her face is a little purple.
Okay, hold on for rescue for her. Stay on the phone.
Philadelphia Fire Department 842. What's the address? No.
4601 Flat Rock Road. Please hurry.
4601 Flat Rock?
Yes.
What's wrong?
I went downstairs to go work out. I came back up. The door was latched. My fiance's inside. She wasn't answering. So after about a half hour, I decided to break it down. I see her now just on the floor with blood. Like she's not responding.
Okay, is she breathing?
Yeah,
Look at her chest. I need you to calm down, and I need you to look at her chest. It's really.
I really don't think she is.
Listen to me. Someone's on the way. Look at her chest. Is she flat on her back?
She's on her back. So I bring her.
Look at her chest and tell me if it's going up and down, up and down.
I don't see her moving.
Okay, do you know how to do CPR?
I don't.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what to do, okay, until they get there. I want you to keep her flat
Oh,
on her
God.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, okay.
Are you willing to do CPR with me over the phone until they get there?
I have to, right?
Okay, so get her flat on her back, bare her chest, okay? You want to rip her shirt off. Okay? Just kneel down by her side.
Oh, my God. Ellie, please.
Listen, you can't freak out, sir, because you
Okay, I'm trying not. Her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper. Oh, my God. She stabbed herself.
Where?
She fell with a knife. Oh, no. Her knife's sticking out.
What?
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
She stabbed herself?
I guess so. I don't know where she fell on it. I don't know.
Okay, well, don't touch it.
Okay, so I just let her down. Here now? I mean, what do I do?
No, I mean, you can't. If the knife is in her chest, it's going to be kind of hard for you to do CPR at this time.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Police, which operator? 277.
Is someone coming here?
Yes, they are. You said 4601 Flat Rock, right?
Yes.
Okay, someone's on the way. And the knife is still inside?
Wait, so what?
The knife is still inside of her?
Yes, I didn't take it out.
Was it her chest or what area?
It's in her chest. It looks like it's right in her heart.
Okay, someone's on the way out there. Okay, just get.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
How old is she?
She's 27.
27, and there's no sign of life at all.
No, please don't be. What?
Pinch her under her arm and tell me if she responds to pain.
She's Ellie. She's not. Her hands are still warm. I don't know what that means, but there's blood everywhere. I mean.
I know, but you can't. And the knife is still inside of her. How far? Can you see how far it went in?
It looks pretty deep.
Okay.
It looks it's a long knife.
Don't touch anything. Yeah, don't touch anything. Okay.
I'm not touching anything. I can't believe this though.
So wait, it was just you there with her?
We're the only ones here.
And she ran in the door. You said latched it shut.
No. I went downstairs to work out, and when I came back up, the door was latched.
Oh.
Like it was, it wasn't like it was, it was like locked from the inside. And I'm yelling, so I'm
was
yelling.
Your house broken into?
No.
So there's no sign of a break-in?
No sign of a break-in at all. I mean, there will be when you get here because I had to break the latch, but to get in.
Okay, 4601 Flat Rock, and this is a house, right?
It's an apartment. Flat Rock apartment.
Okay.
Oh my God. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Okay. So
First off, 911 operators drive me nuts. No offense to them, but they ask so many questions. I know they have to, but
and I can't imagine the distress you feel when you're in the situation and talking to them. He was going back and forth from crying and very animated to completely composed. So I don't know what was going on with his temperament, how he was switching back and forth so often between the two. That always stuck out at me.
I noticed he mentioned she was on her back, but I don't know if it was on her back propped up or flat.
Right. And he said she stabbed herself, and then he said she fell on a knife. I don't know
why that would be your first conclusion to jump to. However, I can say when I do paranormal investigating, and this doesn't light a candle to something like this, but what I'm trying to say is you think of the most logical explanation first. It's never something paranormal. It's if I heard footsteps in a haunted house, right? My first thought is somebody broke in. Okay, it's never a ghost first. Then you go and you look and you see no one's there and you're like, it must have been paranormal, right? So if I were to get into my house and my husband's got the door locked, I break in, I see a knife in his chest, I feel like my first thought is someone stabbed him.
I was going to say the same thing.
That would be my first logical.
My first thought would be, oh my God, he was stabbed. Somebody broke in and stabbed him. That would be my first thought too. So the fact that Sam's first thought was she stabbed herself, I mean,
Or
she
fell on a knife, but she's on her back. How could you?
honestly, who falls on a knife into their heart? I mean,
Right. And again, the ghost hunting thing is the closest thing I can think of where you're in a moment where like something's happening, you're not sure what. Like I said, your mind goes to the most logical conclusion. And I'm sorry, if I see a knife sticking out of my loved one's chest, I'm not going to think they did it to themselves. My first thought is, who the hell broke in here
yeah,
and locked this door behind them?
that's why the 911 operator said, what was their first entry? Like, did someone break in?
Yeah.
Like, they thought the same thing. Somebody must have broke in and stabbed her. So,
Yeah. And as well as I don't want to be too judgmental, me personally, about his affect because everyone reacts differently, right?
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
we
He may have been raised in a very stoic family that you're not allowed to show emotion, right? In those moments, you're in disbelief. So I don't think his mind was like processing
yeah.
what he was looking at
So
either. So
as quickly as the medics came, then we said she was pronounced dead. She was not breathing. Ellen's parents were called and notified the next morning, January 27th at 7:41 a.m. Sam, Ellen's parents, as well as her psychiatrist, were interviewed. It was found that Ellen, like we talked about earlier, struggled with anxiety and depression, and she was currently taking Xanax and Klonopin. And like we described earlier, the effects of those drugs, they're kind of meant to sedate a person by depressing the central nervous system. And they are commonly prescribed for anxiety, panic disorders, and muscle tension. So she did have those drugs in her system. Her parents and the psychologist told police when being interviewed that Ellen never talked about harming herself, that she was looking forward to her upcoming wedding that summer, and that, yes, she had stress from her job as a school teacher, but nothing ever alarming stood out to them as abnormal, just normal job stress and wedding stress. So I personally do believe whatever she was experiencing, she was keeping inside. I do think she had major stress in her relationship and the wedding. It's my personal opinion. On January 27th, Ellen and Sam's apartment complex was given permission by the investigators to clean the apartment. The crime scene before forensics and police were finished going through it. In fact, the scene was never preserved, and the investigators didn't even return with a search warrant until January 28th, which was 2 days after the death. This is an important part of the story.
everything goes wrong. This
So-
is the part in this story that fucks up everything.
Yeah, it was the cleaning of the apartment and not preserving any evidence in the crime scene. That is a big no-no, and I can't believe that that happened. I mean, it's 2011, it's not 1970. There are procedures in place.
Well, also, it was the apartment complex that was looking to get it cleaned. Why were they in such a hurry to clean it up?
I
Why?
know.
What? It's being rented out. You have tenants there. Why do you care so much about getting this cleaned up as an apartment complex, right?
Like
why?
process scene. So, in addition, on January 27th, the day that they're cleaning the apartment, Sam's uncle, a well-known judge in Philadelphia, yes, you heard that right. Sam's uncle is a judge. Walks right in to apartment 603 while they're cleaning it, just walked right the frick in there and took out all of the electronics. Sam's uncle took out Ellen's laptop, cell phone, and any other devices that she had. He just took them. Them, Jackie. Before the police processed the scene, he removed all of them, and that was also extremely bad for this case.
There was no security on this crime
Nope.
scene at all.
Also on January 27th is when Dr. Osborne performed the infamous autopsy on Ellen. So within 24 hours of Ellen's death, and the findings were quite puzzling for a supposed suicide. Ellen had on her chest 8 wounds, including a 4-inch deep stab where the knife was found in the center of her chest, and several others of varying depths. Her stomach had a 2-inch wound. Her scalp had a 2.5-inch gash. The back of her neck, 10 stab wounds, ranging from nicks to full-out deep stabs, with some, Jackie, potentially hitting the spinal cord. Initially, the medical examiner ruled Ellen's death a homicide. However, there have been a few amendments that have resulted as time progressed. So, let's talk about the main points of contention in the original medical examiner's report and how these injuries to Ellen can make or break the suicide versus homicide ruling. So just to recap, Jackie, that's a lot of stab wounds, 20 in the back of the head, neck, and in the chest. And based on everything we know about suicide, it's very unusual for a woman to commit suicide by stabbing herself. I think it's like extremely rare.
Also, let's not forget she had access to benzos, the Xanax and the Klonopin. Women are more likely to take something like that and overdose on it than to do something like this.
I agree. She
It
had access.
doesn't even fit her personality. I know that sounds weird to say, but like she was into fashion, she loved makeup, she cared about her appearance.
She was so beautiful.
She didn't seem like somebody that would be okay with blood. I don't mean blood, but I don't see that.
She also was she was very skinny, Jackie. She worked out. She was very slim. She had no brute strength to do this. I've myself imagine doing that to the back of your head. I'm just
trying to take I'm gonna take a pen and even getting a pen back there is really
the angle. It's like the angle that you would have to do that and do it really hard.
Yeah. And it was a long knife, and this is just a pen. Can you imagine taking a longer knife and trying to get it back there? Then this gash, the gash, it goes down to the dura of her brain.
Yeah.
That's penetrating bone.
To me, the gash looks like somebody slammed her head on their granite kitchen countertop. It's a huge gash. To me, somebody would just take her head and slam it to create something like that. Because that wasn't a stab, it was a gash. So what is she slamming her own head on the table?
You would have to go backwards almost.
Yeah.
To hit it that way.
So this is why the ruling of homicide made perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because this is just not a way to kill yourself. And the way that wounds were inflicted, it's just almost nearly impossible to keep inflicting wounds on yourself over and over. You're going to lose blood. You're going to sever your spinal cord, your brain. At one point, you're going to tap out and not be able to keep stabbing yourself. Anyway, the controversies are the spinal injury, the deep neck wound that likely severed her spinal cord would have prevented her from stabbing herself further, especially in the chest, like we just said. So the back of the neck stab would have incapacitated her immediately. Also, there was bruising and strangulation. There was bruises on her wrists and neck, suggesting a struggle, conflicting with typical suicide indicators. And I saw the bruising on her wrists, and it was pretty heavy bruising. It wasn't like you just, walked into a table or, dropped your phone or something. It was really big bruising all around her wrists and her forearms. One significant point of contention were the stab wounds that allegedly penetrated Greenberg's. Wayne K. Ross, an investigator hired by the family, wrote that the wounds to the brain and spinal cord would have caused severe pain, cranial nerve dysfunction, and traumatic brain injuries.
And keep in mind, so from January Until April 2011, this case was considered a homicide. However, it was changed to a suicide on April 4th, 2011. So for at least 3 months, they were under the impression this was a homicide, given all of
Yes.
this.
And everyone's playing dumb here. And the ruling is switched.
If you're wondering why Dr. Marlon Osborne, and just try to remember his name, he's the original medical examiner, he changed his opinion from homicide to suicide because of conflicting information, police influence, and new evidence. Oh, he changed the manner of death after meeting with police, reportedly influenced by police claims about the scene and her fiance's behavior. I believe it was mainly because Marlon Osborne was under the impression that when Sam broke down the door, that the concierge was with him, meaning someone witnessed him breaking the door
Yes,
down.
that
Yeah,
was
that was the
incorrect.
thing that made Marlon change his
Yes.
ruling.
Yes.
Because initially, if no one's there to witness Sam breaking the door down, how do we know the door was even latched?
Correct.
Right? You're just going off of his word. So that raises the possibility that either Sam was in there or somebody else could have been in there, right?
Mhm.
But then the police were like, no. We know that someone was there and saw the door latched. And that's why Dr. Osborne went back and was like, well, then this had to have been a suicide then, because how else would that door have gotten latched if Ellen didn't do it? So really, my read is they're thinking this is a suicide largely because they can't think of a way somebody else could have gotten in there and done it to her.
And-
Not what her body looks like.
And that to latch the door from the inside.
Right.
How did Sam go to the gym?
You can't latch that behind
So
you.
yeah, how was he at the gym and then come back and the door's latched? So he didn't like latch it from the inside and then go to the gym. That's impossible.
And then let's just show you guys what this latch looks like so you know, because you definitely have encountered a latch like this in your life. And you know what we're talking about when we say you can't latch that behind you. So it's like the hotel latch, right? You have to flip the flap over
The
top
bar.
of the
Yeah.
latch. You can't do that from the outside. It can only be done from the inside. However, there are people that say like you could put a string onto it,
Mhm.
and then when you close the door, you pull the string and it can
Yeah.
pull it. I mean, that's a lot of work for someone to do. Sure, it's possible. And then in the Hulu documentary series, I believe it was the Hulu documentary series,
Yeah.
or maybe somewhere where I read it, the apartment manager, she did say one time she slammed some of these doors shut so hard that then the latch does fall shut. So it is possible you could pull it shut hard
Okay.
enough.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it is possible. It just adds that layer of mystery, and there's no facts to prove that
Right.
it was latched. I mean,
Yeah. There's reports neighbors did hear him at the door banging on it. And you know how you can just hear that a door is latched? Like when you push on it? That is what neighbors have said, that they could hear it. They didn't see it, but they could hear it, that it was latched. And we can get into that when we get into the medical examiner's report from just a couple months ago. Because again, it seems to me like they keep coming back to the suicide because they can't see how anyone could have gotten in there to do this to her. Not what her body
also-
looks like. It's just the circumstances around it. They're like, well, we don't see how anyone else could have done this.
And I also want to mention they were on the 6th floor. So it's
Yes.
not like somebody could have climbed up to
The balcony.
like even 2 floors. Like they were on the 6th floor. So nobody came from the outside either, is the thing.
Exactly. So keep in mind, her cause of death was changed to suicide April 4th, 2011, and it stayed that way for many, many years. On March 15th, 2019, the Philadelphia Inquirer released a front-page investigative report reviewing the suspicious circumstances surrounding Greenberg's death. So at this point, people are starting to ask questions. Other experts are weighing in on this case. We have Pittsburgh forensic pathologist Cyril Wecht, who challenged the single bullet theory of the John F. Kennedy assassination. He reviewed the case and determined it was, quote, strongly suspicious of homicide, and said he did not know how they wrote this off as a suicide. Similarly, forensic scientists Henry Lee, who testified for the defense in the O.J. Simpson murder trial, reviewed the case files and concluded, quote, the number and types of wounds and bloodstain patterns observed are consistent with a homicide scene. As you can imagine, with the amounts of experts weighing in on this case and having differing opinions, Ellen's family have been fighting like hell to get their daughter's name cleared, as they do not believe she would for a second commit suicide. In October 2019, Greenberg's parents filed a civil suit against the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office and Marlon Osborne, the pathologist who conducted the autopsy, in the Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas. The suit seeks to change the manner of death from homicide to undetermined. Now, just stopping here, changing the cause of death to undetermined, I believe, is probably their only option at this point, Jenna,
Yeah.
because like we said, the crime scene was cleaned. And that is why I said that is where everything got fucked up. Because with that scene being clean, I don't think we'll ever be able to prove who did this to her if there was another person that did this to her.
They didn't
can't
even
now-
fingerprint the knives. Like they didn't.
No, they
even-
did. They did.
That's right.
She was transported to the medical examiner's office with the knife still in her chest, and only her prints were found on it.
And she was in the middle of making a fruit salad, as the photos of the crime
Right.
scene show. So they're saying in the middle of the fruit salad, she just decided to start stabbing herself 20 times. Like, I don't know. That's just a little far-fetched.
What if there was another knife involved that just wasn't there, right? Or
Right.
one of the other knives in the knife block were used, but they processed all of that. They cleaned it all. You will never be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law who did this to her because they cleaned the crime scene.
Yeah.
You just can't. In January 2020, the Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas allowed the case to proceed past the motion to dismiss stage. The trial was set to begin in 2021. In February 2022, the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office under Shapiro reaffirmed that her death was a suicide, which was obviously criticized by Greenberg's parents. It doesn't end there. In August 2022, the Chester County District Attorney's Office announced it would reopen the investigation into Greenberg's death. However, they concluded that they could not prove a crime was committed. And then in July 30th, 2024, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania granted a petition for the allowance of appeal to review the challenges to Greenberg's cause of death.
So during this appeal process, which took months, and I just want to mention, all these legal battles are drawing out for years. I mean, her parents are fighting tooth and nail tirelessly to clear the suicide ruling. So during the appeal process in February 2025, the pathologist that originally ruled the case as suicide, Dr. Osborne, signed a document stating that he amended his position on the cause of death in light of new information. No longer considering it a suicide, he wrote, "It is my professional opinion Ellen's manner of death should be designated as something other than suicide."
Yeah.
He's
back to probably undetermined, I would
Yeah,
say,
okay.
in his
Yeah.
own mind.
Yeah.
However, he's not at this point, and just keep in mind, he's not at this point in time employed by the city of Philadelphia. The only weight that he has with this is just really offering his opinion as the original ME to say, you know what, now knowing what I know now, 14 years later, I probably wouldn't have called it a suicide.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what would this new information be, you might ask, that would change Dr. Osborne's mind? He based this reversal on a review of new information from the Philadelphia Police Department case file, including a consultation with pediatric neuropathologist Dr. Lucy Rourke Adams. The new information that led to Dr. Osborne's change of opinion included several points, being evidence that disputes whether the apartment door was forced open, information that suggests it is unlikely there were witnesses to the fiancé entering the apartment. Initially, we said it was believed the front desk concierge had witnessed Sam breaking down the door. But as stated in the Hulu documentary, What Happened in Apartment 603, the front desk concierge states he did not go up to the apartment with Sam to break the door down because he couldn't leave his post. He wasn't allowed to leave. So he's saying, no, wasn't me. I never was up there.
I never saw him breaking that door down.
No.
Yep.
So that was a lie that when Sam said.
I don't know that Sam said it. I don't know where that. I think it was the police that were under the impression the concierge.
Okay,
was
so
with
there was some
Sam.
misinformation
From the
that-
police. And that's critical because Dr. Osborne thought in April 2011 that the concierge was standing there. That's why he changed it initially.
Yes. Also, evidence indicating Ellen's body may have been moved by someone else inside the apartment. It was noted that there was a drop of blood that ran horizontal to Ellen's cheek. This indicated she was on her side when the blood was running down her cheek. According to Sam, though, in the 911 call, he said she was on her back. And then the crime scene photos show she was sitting upright on the floor, propped up with her back against the cabinets. So what's going on there? The blood running across the cheek isn't going to happen when you're sitting upright like the way she was found. So Dr. Osborne is saying, I truly believe her body was moved. And
Also, too, I believe the 911 operator said, she said, is she on her back? And he said, yes. But that could have meant she's on her back propped up against the cabinet, too.
yeah,
Either
yeah.
way, like, she wasn't in that original position.
No.
Yeah.
And also to note, neuropathological findings by Dr. Lindsay Emery, which indicated a deep neck stab wound, might have occurred after death due to a lack of hemorrhage. The anatomical reconstruction of her wounds suggests some of the stab wounds could not have been self-inflicted.
Just like we were saying, like, how can you stab yourself from certain angles with a long knife in the
Do you wanna
back of the neck?
Do you want to pull up the picture?
Yeah, let's pull up the picture and show you.
Because I think it's truly
You have to
impactful.
see the
see.
trajectory here
Yeah.
because so here is the stab trajectory. I mean, look at that giant gash in the back of her
There's the
head.
gash.
First of all,
Yep.
you got. How do you even get a knife up this high here? You've got all of these. These are what I take issue with, and then this.
Yes, the ones going really deep into the base of her neck, spinal cord, and brain are the ones that I truly don't believe you could self-inflict.
No, I don't.
Based on the angle, and those knives are all going straight in, I feel like it would definitely be on an angle if you were
Also,
stabbing.
I don't recall them ever mentioning if she's left-handed or right-handed.
I agree. I was thinking that would be key to this whole thing. If you found out the trajectory and the angle for which she was using, you could determine which hand she was using.
I did a quick Google search just because we've read our stuff, but I don't recall it ever mentioning her dominance. But it says that the evidence points to her right hand being involved. I don't know which hand she is, but that also can play a part in the angle in which these are delivered.
Yeah.
Unreal. I mean, look at that one. Look how deep that went.
That's going through the
All
base
the way
of
into
her
the base of
brain.
skull, into the brain. How can you do that and then still continue to do all this? Because the kill shot was the one in the front.
It's so chilling
We know
because
she was alive with the knife in the chest because there was so much blood in the cavity, meaning
Yeah.
her heart was still pumping blood. So it's mind-blowing, right? This is why this case is captivated so many people because you can't wrap your head around it.
no. And
God. So, with all that being said, all right, Osborne is like, maybe I made a mistake changing it now, knowing what I know now. Okay. But unfortunately, it doesn't have any influence in the final death certificate. It's just on the record for the civil case that he may have made a mistake, right? Knowing what he knows now, he would have changed it. And that gives the Greenberg's case a little more credence, right? As part of the settlement the Greenbergs made with the city of Philadelphia, the city agreed to have an independent review of the autopsy reports. The Greenbergs agreed to drop their lawsuits in exchange for Philadelphia paying them $650,000 and having the medical examiner perform an independent review of Ellen's autopsy. Now, this is where we get into some recent headlines, okay? On October 10th, 2025, just a few months ago, in a 32-page report written by the forensic pathologist at the city of Philadelphia, Dr. Lindsay Simon, MD, and again, I got this from her LinkedIn, that's her title, she reaffirms the original ruling that Ellen Greenberg died by suicide. While Simon accepts that the quote, distribution of injuries is admittedly unusual, she maintains that Ellen would still have been capable of inflicting those injuries herself. Yes, you heard that right, guys.
No, I absolutely do not believe that.
Right. She said this. Based on an analysis of photographs taken at autopsy, Dr. Simon contends that the defect found in Greenberg's spinal cord could have been caused accidentally by a probe during the autopsy procedures. Going back to early in our story, we mentioned that there was a sample of Ellen's spinal cord that was found to not have hemorrhaged, and that likely could mean the injury happened after she died. So think about it. Hemorrhaging means your blood's still pumping. If there's no hemorrhaging in the spinal cord, it means your blood's not pumping anymore. This woman, Dr. Simon, is saying that her spinal cord could have been nicked during the autopsy. And that's why you see some kind of defect there with no hemorrhaging. Dr. Simon further observes that even if Greenberg did sustain such an injury to her spine before death, it would not have incapacitated her or prevented her from continuing to move.
Okay.
So she's saying if Ellen did nick her spine, if somebody nicked Ellen's spinal cord, Ellen or someone else, before killing her, she still could move. I mean, maybe the defect wasn't bad enough. Maybe that's why she's thinking it's from the autopsy. But at the end of the day, guys, let's just note that this is far from an independent review that the family freaking asked for. Dr. Simon works for the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, the corruption runs so deep with this case that I truly believe the entire city and state, they're all on the same page, and every single person that gets involved in this case is told they better fucking follow suit, because there is just, these people are supposed to be
lose here for the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, this is like, you can't tell me that all these professionals are making such an obscene, unintelligent ruling based on this evidence. Just feel like, given everything we know about this case and Sam's uncle working for the city of Philadelphia and everybody kind of falling in line with the suicide, person after person, and anyone who speaks out and tries to get it changed, they go right back to falling in line with the suicide.
And I'm looking at the 32-page report right now, and the final analysis of Ellen's death, signed by Dr. Lindsay Simon. She starts off by saying she had a lot of anxiety. Okay, this was well documented that she had a lot of anxiety. She was found dead in her apartment with 23 stab wounds and incised wounds. Some of them, she said, are hesitation wounds, okay? I don't see any defensive injuries. And I'm just paraphrasing here just for the sake of time. No defensive injuries were identified on her body. The fiancé's DNA was not detected on the knife used to inflict the injuries. His self-reported timeline of events is corroborated by phone logs, text messages, surveillance, keycard swipes, and police interviews. Yes, everything after leaving the apartment for the gym is corroborated. She said there's no evidence to say that she was in an abusive relationship with her fiancé. No one else's DNA was on the knife. No findings of a struggle were found, and no valuables were gone. And she closes this by saying, with all of this information considered, it is the opinion of the undersigned that the manner of Ellen Greenberg's death is best classified as suicide. All opinions stated in this report are expressed with a reasonable degree of medical certainty. The undersigned reserves the right to amend any statements or opinions if presented with additional significant information. So that's where it stands now, guys. However, we do have breaking news as of January 13th, 2026, that the U.S. government is now involved. The federal government requested documents and information from the Philadelphia Police Department last month. It's unclear how the federal government became involved and if and when it will release any details about its interest in Ellen Greenberg's death. So we aren't sure right now, guys, if they're trying to investigate the manner of her death and whether it was a homicide or suicide, or they just want to look into what actually happened here and if there's corruption. I'm just surmising how it was handled, more about how it was handled than changing the material facts of Ellen's death.
Yeah,
Is
and
that
they're not
too?
they're not saying,
Yeah.
they are not saying what their involvement is. That's just our opinion. And I don't know as time goes on if we will start to find out or if they're going to keep this close to the vest.
Or is it chest? No, it's bad. I just wanted to, overall, my opinion on this case, let's just end with our opinions on what happened
Yeah.
here. I'm unclear what to believe here. I see why the medical examiners are saying it can't be anything other than a suicide here, given the circumstances, the scene, etc. But if the body's telling you the story,
Yeah.
that doesn't look like a suicide to me, and it doesn't feel like a suicide. I think her death is best left undetermined. I would 100% support that being changed to undetermined, because there's no way we can rule out that this wasn't a homicide, given what we know now. How about you, Jenna?
I agree. I think it should be undetermined. As much as I personally would like to believe that Sam did this, I don't think there's enough mounting evidence to support that Sam killed Ellen.
No, there's not, unfortunately.
I do think that they had trouble in their relationship. I think she was keeping a lot of things to herself. And I think that if she did move back home with her parents, I think she would have shared all of it with them. But now we'll never know.
We'll never know.
And Sam is moved on. He does not look like the charming young man from 2011.
Yeah, there's a video on TikTok that's going around. Somebody saw him on the street, and
he's gained a bit of weight. He looks a little disheveled. I just think it should be ruled undetermined. And this is going to be one of those major mysteries for decades to come. And I don't believe we will ever find out the truth.
I don't think we will either. I just want to close out on Ellen Greenberg's parents and what they have to say about the U.S. government opening up this probe. We're going to just close out with a clip here from News Nation about what they have to say, because at the end of the day, they're hurting so much, and I think it's appropriate to close out with their voices. So here we go. Share this. Here we go.
Investigator, highest investigator. We've only
Thrilled.
Which seems like it's been a long time coming. What's your reaction?
We're thrilled. We're excited. We're overjoyed.
We've only asked for one thing: an unbiased investigation led by an unbiased investigator.
We would like to invite Sam and his family members to come forward and explain to us things that have not been answered.
Do you think Sam will cooperate?
I hope so.
I would think he would want to know exactly what happened to his beloved fiance.
Wouldn't he want to know the truth also?
And Elizabeth, they're talking about Sam Goldberg. That was Ellen's fiance.
Wow, the way they said that. His beloved fiance. Yeah.
You would think Sam
think
would want to know.
They've never openly accused him. Nobody wants to be sued. And we're not saying that about him at all, by the way.
No.
They've never openly said anything, but I mean, what are they supposed to think, right?
And would you ever believe your beautiful, intelligent, amazing daughter could take her own life? They don't want to believe that either.
Yeah.
It's just a case where it's plausible that she did take her own life.
You raise an interesting thought that I wanted to mention. I was thinking about this earlier today. I think it was when CNN ran their article about Ellen's case. They tried getting a hold of one of the detectives involved or some investigator. They located him down in the Jersey Shore and showed up at his house to like ask him questions about the case and what he thought happened. And he said something that really stuck with me. He said, there was a case that I had where it really looked like this person was killed. I forget the details, but he said it really appeared like a homicide until we got a hold of surveillance videos and realized this guy like just fell down the stairs or like it was something accidental.
Wow.
And he's like,
Wow.
I really think this could be one of those situations where it may look that way, but she really did it to herself. And that makes me wonder how many cases out there where we were like, we nailed somebody for it. And really,
Yeah.
they just did it themselves. And that person wasn't lying. Like, I am innocent. I didn't do anything. But it does make you wonder, right? But again, her body tells a different story than what the circumstances tell you.
Yeah.
It doesn't add up.
It's truly a mystery. And I
It
think
always will be.
it'll
There's no
remain.
crime scene. There's no crime scene that was preserved. You can't prove one way or the other. You will never be able to nail anybody for this unless they confessed. You will never be able to nail somebody for this.
And there's been none of that. No false confessions,
Yeah.
no people in jails talking about it. It's just a case that will always remain a mystery, and it will always be very close to Jackie and I because Ellen was around our age at the time that this happened, and she's from our
Would be
area.
around our age now. I think she'd be
Yeah.
43 this
Yeah.
year. It's just great. She'd have her own kids, and she
Yeah.
was their only child.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the only child they ever had, and she's gone.
Yeah. So
It's
our hearts
tough.
go out to her parents and her family, and we hope that they stay well as they continue this fight and bring
My only hope
justice.
is that, even if they don't get answers before they die, the day they do, she'll be there waiting for them and they'll have all the
Yeah.
answers that they need.
Jackie, that's so nice. That is such a good final thought for the case. I love that.
I know. I don't know why I'm tearing up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they will know. A lot of people believe, I want them to find the answers before they die. But you know what? They're going to find the answers when they die and when they see her again.
And when they see Ellen
Yeah.
again.
There you
Wow.
go. That's my belief. I
I love that. Yeah.
All right,
All
as we
right.
close out today, guys, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. We worked really hard on this. And again, there's so much to cover in this case. I'm sure you're probably thinking, well, they didn't go over this. They didn't go over this. But to tell this story in a chronological order in a way that makes sense, sometimes you have to put things to the side. But we hope you enjoyed it. And we look forward to seeing you next month on Patreon.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, so much.
Thank you. Bye.